Has Eric Ten Hag had enough of Anthony Dos Santos? Meanwhile, he has confirmed that the three are available for the Barnsley game. What exactly is happening inside United? Here I am to give it to you. How have you been today? My name is Webb. Welcome to the United of Sport, guys. It feels good to have 10,000 and more subscribers. Thank you so much. It's a good feeling, I must say. It's encouraging, and that's why even when I'm dozing after a long day, I'll still make time and talk about the beloved club before I retire. Let's get into it now. Eric Ten Hag speaking in his pre-match press conference before our home game against Barnsley in the Carabao Cup, of course, reiterated what I said earlier, that the Carabao Cup is another trophy, important, and the team is expected to compete for all titles. So he hinted on it, but of course also admitted the fact that it's not the most important for Man United now, seeing that we stepped it up a notch by winning the FA Cup. So the expectation will be more in the Premier League and the FA Cup. But he highlighted the fact that Mazraoui, Lisandro Martinez, and Lisandro Martinez are all available. Delete Martinez and Mazraoui are all available for our game against Barnsley. But also, good news is that Mason Mount is believed to have returned to training with the group. So Mason Mount is also progressing back. Probably won't be available tomorrow, but at least him returning to training with his teammates is a good step in the right direction. So in terms of new injuries, there is not really one to worry about. So all these players are available tomorrow for selection. He spoke about Ugarte, saying, wait and see what my selection will be. But the interesting response I picked from his pre-match press conference was concerning Anthony, his favorite Anthony, or his former favorite Anthony, who was asked whether this is the time for Anthony to get a chance, because I believe most of us had put him in our probable 11 for the Barnsley game, because this is his level, and we hope he can show up. He warned us that this season is going to be. Why am I sweating? Anyway, it's a hot day. So he warned us that this season is going to be one, full of. His name is going to be associated with more goals and assists and stuff. But he has barely kicked a ball. So you wonder how he's going to score and assist without kicking a ball. But Eric Ten Hag said that every player has got to earn a right to play. Because now they have got depth in the squad and all players are working hard to prove themselves and earn the right to start. And knows they're observing every player in terms of what they do, but also their attitude. And that seemed to, sort of suggest that he's not really 100% moved by the attitude of Antonio Dos Santos, which you would expect. I mean, for you to be signed for 80 million quid, be a favorite for your coach for 2 seasons, even when you're not performing, it sort of got comfortable for him. By the way, he recently proposed, I think, he proposed Anthony to his girlfriend. He's getting married, and I think he moved into the house that was formerly owned by Paul Pogba. I was, following that somewhere. But anyway, the issue is, we won't care where he stays. What we care about is whether he stays good enough and fit enough to be playing and performing and scoring and assisting for Man United. That's why we paid 86 million quid for him. But Eric Ten Hag doesn't seem to be moved by his attitude, and indeed the talks of a loan move away from Man United are every day increasingly becoming real. In fact, if it doesn't happen anytime soon, it will happen in Jan or maybe in the summer. But the reality is, Antonio's future seems to be headed away from Manchester United, though he wants to sort of force it on us that he can, change things around. But I mean, the way Ahmad is flying, Marcus Rashford is returning on form, Garnacho is doing Garnacho things, even off the bench, is scoring goals. It will be extremely difficult. And even this boy Russell is a winger. The Russell kid that we signed, by the way, one for the future, but people are not talking about him enough. But he's another generational talent. So Anthony will probably keep being pushed behind in terms of in the pecking order. But that said, so Eric Ten Hag hinted on that. But in terms of the starting 11, he kept his cards close to his chest, of course, and he didn't. He said you wait for the lineup. But I can try to read from what he said, and I think Manuel Ugarte will start that game. I think Anthony, yeah, I think will start that game. I expect either Casemiro or Toby Collier to start in the middle, and probably Christian Eriksen be pushed to number 10. That's my expectation. He could maybe bring in a delete just because he has not had so many games, just to give him a few minutes. Maybe he can start the first half or come off the bench. But I expect delete to play a few minutes. I don't expect Mazraoui to play a part. I think Dalot could play. I think Evans and Maguire will certainly play a part. One of them will start. Then in the middle, like I said, Ugarte, I sort of think he will start. Zakzi must be starting to leading the line. I hope Sefu Kone can be put on the bench and comes on for a few minutes. He doesn't have to play a lot of time, but just for a few minutes to run around and excite the supporters at home. That is the excitement we want to see in that game, because my feeling is that these are the games these so many youngsters we have got to enjoy for themselves. Harry Amas and the likes. Harry Amas is a player I expect to start, for example. But uh, prediction, and someone was asking me my prediction of that game. We should beat Barnsley, honestly. I think we should be able to beat Barnsley, regardless the squad we start. We should beat Barnsley. Altel Bayindir needs to be given his chance. Altel Bayindir needs to be given his chance. This is the game where we've got to see him starting between the sticks, because for as long as Eric Ten Hag keeps starting Onana ahead of Bayindir, Onana is going to be Campo, and we know how good a goalkeeper he is. But you see, you put Onana under pressure by giving Altel Bayindir a few minutes, maybe not in the big games, but if Bayindir performs so well against Barnsley, Onana will wake up, knowing that if I rest on my laurels, this Bayindir could come and take my place. So I think Eric Ten Hag has got to play that kind of mind games to try and get the best out of Onana, but also other players in other positions. Start their rivals, start their deputies, and put them under pressure to perform to their best. So I hope we see something like that. But it's of course all goes down to him and what he wants and what he expects to do to get out of the game. So it's I think a good update that we don't have those major injury concerns, and it puts us in a I think a comfortable place. I think for some time. I mean, at the time when our rivals Arsenal are struggling with injuries, I mean, for us to be having this breather, of course. Luke Shaw hinted that he's progressing well, but he won't be available tomorrow certainly. Rasmus Højlund too might maybe be on the bench. By the way, I have a feeling he could be on the bench, probably, but it's not fully available yet. Tyrell Malaysia too is just on his way back. So most of our injured players are progressing so well, and sooner rather than later, we could be seeing a surprise in terms of one of them dropping back into the squad and again pushing. Ten Hag says this is good headache that he hopes to have, and he loves it. Let's see what comes out of the good headache. He told us to judge him in May. That's when the season ends in the Premier League. In terms of where we are, the position where we are, this is not Premier League talk. This is Carabao Cup talk, and it's another good game that we've got to follow and see what comes out of it. So that's pretty much what's happened today. But the news of Mason Mount has just come out. I think I've just seen it as I speak to you. Mason Mount, returning to training. I hadn't really got this before I came. But yeah, it's I think a good update for us, considering that we do want uh, uh, all our players in. It's a good thing that they are beginning to return at least to training. So it's a good place to be. That's it for now. My name is Webb. This is the United of Sport. I will be catching you again tomorrow as we do build up to this small game, I should say. It's a small game. Are there any small games for Man United anyway? It should, on paper at least, it's a small game. We should leave them for dead. I hope that's what we do. Cheers, fam.